I had a question.
Yes.
What's your take on, mother passing on her spirit or her to her child? What about adopted children? Do you think they have a double barrier? Do they have
Yes.
two spirits to overcome?
Yes. My heart goes out to most, not all, but most adopted children because when you're not with your real parents, your natural born parents, you have a longing for them. Even if you're with your father but was not raised by your mother too, your mother was not there, you still long for her. It's in us to do that. When you're not with your father, you long for your father. And what's missing in most people's lives is that longing for the father. And so they may get into an adoptive family that means well, make sure they get a good education, take care of them, but they still have that emptiness. And then God forbid if they get into a family where the family is broken, the mother and fathers are fighting and all that kind of stuff. It's double trouble for those kind of kids. Now, if they got into an adoptive family and the father and mother explained to them, we're not your natural born parents, so you're going to have that little loaning thing there. Forgive your father for not being there or your mother. You'll be fine. Don't hold it against them. They loved you. They just couldn't help themselves. I think then they can kind of let go because they will understand what happened, and then God can come in and change them.
So you don't think it makes a difference if someone's adopted when they're like, they could be the day after they were born, they're still going to have the, okay.
Yeah. Even if the parents went to the hospital and as soon as the baby dropped out, they took that baby as their own. It's still there because it's spiritual. We are a spirit, and spiritually we're supposed to connect with our earthly father because he represents God on earth. And when you don't have that there, spiritually you know that. You know something is wrong. I've known of several cases where people were adopted into good financial families who loved them, and they still had that longing for their fathers. Absolutely, it was just there. And it wasn't the adopted family fault. It's spiritual. It really is. What we long for is the Father, and nothing else can replace that. That's a very good question, because a lot of adopted kids are dealing with that.
Just a follow-up question. So what would be a good age to, because I think most people that adopt children kind of don't want to tell them they're adopted until they're adults. So I don't know how you would tell a child they're adopted. Wouldn't you almost be damaging them?
I think that when they start asking questions, because at some point they will start asking questions about things. For some reason they can sense at some point that this is not really my family. Even though they're nice people, there's still something missing. They know something's missing. You just know it. And so at that point, when they want to know, that's when you tell them. I don't think you should shock them with the information. But a lot of parents are afraid because they don't want to lose the kids or they don't want to hurt them, so they don't tell them. But if they ever ask, that is the time to tell them. Yeah.